happened to the UK? I'm in what was once a thriving Saturday night nightlife town in the middle of England. It is now a ghost town. It's 8 o'clock on a Saturday night in August, and this place used to be rammed as far as the eye could see with people, partiers. There was at least 15 bars and pubs, a few nightclubs, from the blue building that you can see in the background all the way down there. There is nobody out. There's a couple of older couples, a couple of families. But when I say to you, this used to be one of the places in the Midlands to go on a Saturday night out, I'm not exaggerating. Now, yes, times have changed. Prices are higher. A lot of the youngsters don't drink as much. But this used to be this busy on a Sunday night when nothing was open. All the high street is now is betting shops, as you can see there, charity shops. I think there's about 30 Turkish barbers, and that's about it. Where's it all gone? I mean, is your town like this? You know, is this just a anecdotal bit of evidence that is a one-off? But this used to be heaving from about 7 o'clock at night until about 2 or 3 in the morning. Now, I'm not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing, but it definitely is a sign of the times. I haven't seen one person yet that looks like they're on a night out. The bars are closing down. I've heard Revolutions are closing down. I've heard TGI Fridays are closing down. There's just nothing left. Nothing left. So what are youngsters doing now? Are they staying in? Are they teetotal? They're not going out for a night out? I've seen a few videos of people on nights out and they're all sat on the phone. Which is funny because you're sat on your phone watching this. But yeah, this was a once thriving market town, Saturday night. There's barely a soul around. Sign of the times.
That's the cost of living crisis. Suddenly we went up from prices being around there to prices being there. And you don't really see that in this data, okay? Because inflation is really just measuring the difference between that and that. And if you look at those two lines, you're talking about a 2.3% change. That's the number we're talking about today. But for a lot of people, it's not about that. It's about the difference between this and that. And when you look at the difference between this and that, that's 20%. And I think that's the dichotomy here between these inflation numbers where it looks normal and this, which is really not normal at all.
It took me going through a traumatic experience to realise that the UK is finished. Whatever you do, get out of here. Well, I don't know what our money is going towards. I don't know what we're paying for, because guess what? I had to book an appointment to get them to take a statement from me tomorrow. But when I told the police, oh, just go to that area, that's where he's lurking. Oh, we can't just pull him off the streets. So why do you not do stops and searches if you can't just be pulling people off the streets? Is it just a pick and choosing type of thing? Like, is it me being chased by a man late at night? That's not important. It's only once she's died. Okay, we'll open an investigation. We'll look for him. Are you being serious? They don't care about us. I don't know where our money is going towards. I don't know what type of hatred, what they're trying to fuel or what their agenda is. But our bills are going up, our wages are staying the same, and our services are down in the gutter. Get out of this place now.
£2.75 a pack of Doritos be £1. 3 nugs! 3 nugs is what we pay for Chris these days. Rishi, count your days. These chocolates used to be 4 for £1. Buy 4 of these and resell them in store and make a profit, 50p each. Now they're selling it for almost £2. That's extortion. Oh, they used to be £3. Sounds crisp on a drink. I was getting my bargain. Now let's have a look. £1.90, almost £4 for a meal deal. Where is the deal in that meal? These used to be 30 pence each. Tell me why. These are 80 pence. Rishi, Rishi, 80 pence. Is that what it's come to, Rishi?
Message to the young people in the UK. I'm sure you can relate that you've seen all over the media that there's a pandemic of 16 to 24-year-olds, which is the highest actual age group to be unemployed in the UK. To be labelled unemployed essentially is that you want to work but you can't find a job, and then the other term which is used at the moment is economically inactive. These people usually cannot work due to sickness. What blows my mind away is that, especially the number, which is around 950,000 people in the UK, but there is numerous jobs out there. I understand if you've not got the experience, but I'm talking about your warehouse, your retail jobs. Sometimes I think we have to just swallow our pride and just work, as yes, it's demanding physically, but mentally you'll feel a lot better and you're contributing to society. There was this guy called Neil actually on the BBC News. He's 22-year-old. He said that it's a shame that so many people that he knows are losing their potential due to the fact that they're out there partying, taking drugs, and essentially craving that instant gratification, doing those degenerate activities. And he said he was a victim of that himself, but he's come out of that and now we can see the wider picture. All right, guys, I just wanted to share that message with you guys, and I want to, if you can drop a message in the comment just regarding this topic, it will be beneficial, as I'm actually interested to see what your guys' thoughts and opinions are about this topic. All right, guys, have a good rest of your day. See you in the next one.
If you are the average British person and you choose to stay in this country for the next 2 years, here's what's most likely going to happen. Your standard of living is not going to improve, your taxes may well go up, and you will continue to feel a squeeze to your finances. So here's a graph outlining this that was released after the budget today. To explain what this graph here means to you, it means that between the last general election and the one that's about to happen, you, the average British person, have witnessed the greatest drop in living standards since records began, since the 1950s. And this is the problem. People in this country don't realise how much better our standard of living could and should be. And highlighting this is not an anti-British statement. It's highlighting how this country has gone down the toilet and is going to stay in the toilet for a good few years, all thanks to these arseholes. And Labour are not going to be in a position where they can do a great deal about it. Our economic growth is predicted to grow slower than expected. Inflation is set to remain stubborn, and the tax burden is still set to remain very high, so Labour will most likely increase taxes. The tax cuts announced today are a classic trap for the next government, and they're also not going to improve the average person's life. In real terms, we are still going to remain a country where the average person is feeling the squeeze. So I would still advise that you move somewhere else, because there are numerous countries that either have a higher standard of living or a better quality of life. And people will always say that whatever country you move to has got its own problems and that's why you shouldn't move there. Don't fall for this self-defeating, limiting belief. The grass is always greener argument is a generic and lazy argument normally made by people who don't have the bollocks to move abroad themselves. So they would rather try and prevent you from doing it and drag you down. Or they'd rather remain here living in ignorance, thinking that everything is okay without realising how much our standard of living has dropped compared to other comparable economies. Let those people remain ignorant and start looking on TikTok and YouTube at the amount of Brits who have moved abroad and are now raving about how much better their life is. There are always valid reasons why some people can't do it, but for the average person, you can. Don't let your mind be the obstacle in the way of you improving your life.
So we all know that the UK job market has been cooked for a while now. Everyone seems to just roll over it and just accept that this is the norm. People need to be aware that if they don't take responsibility and action on this, they're going to be doomed in later life. And not just that, but their kids and future generation are going to be doomed as well. This post on Reddit says, what the bleep is going on in the UK with wages? I've been doing a little research on engineer salaries, and on average, the UK is only at 32 to 34k, depending on which company you go for. And this post goes on to talk about how this person would end up spending 70% of their salary just on surviving through cost of living. I think people need to wake up and smell the coffee and know the fact that your employer does not have your best interests at heart. You need to take it on yourself to raise your own income so that you do not fall foul of these poor UK wages. Because it will eventually get to a point where your costs mount up and your salary won't even cover your basic costs. And you will be forced to relocate to another part of the country that is not as expensive. But what happens when you repeat that cycle and there's nowhere else to go? You can only budget so much, and eventually you have to come to terms with the fact that you have to raise your income. So act now and don't wait. Look at ways in which you can increase your income so that you do not fall foul of massive inflation and cost of living. If you want more tips on how you can raise your income doing different things, make sure to follow my account.
Can we please talk about the cost of things? Because I spent almost £33 before I'd even got to... Can we please talk about the cost of things? Because I spent almost £33 before I'd even got to lunchtime. Paid for parking, which was £11.50. I then paid around £10 for a return train ticket. I paid about £7 for a coffee and a croissant. However, the coffee fell out of my hand and spilt on the pavement, so I spent another £4 replacing that. All in all, before I'd even got to lunchtime, I'd already spent about £33. Bruised, because I just couldn't process why I'd already spent this much money before I'd even got to lunch. And I can't even begin to imagine what it's like for people with dependents, like children, who have a mortgage, other working families. Because relatively speaking, I'm in a place of privilege, which I'm really grateful for. I don't have dependents, I do have a mortgage, but my property is currently rented out and that covers most of the mortgage costs. I just have to offset a little bit. I live with my mum and I contribute towards household bills. Other than that, I only have direct debits such as my gym, phone bill and a few other bits of direct debit. But I don't have anything major. Yet I felt financially, mentally and emotionally bruised after today. I pretty much wrote off today financially. Before my last meeting this afternoon, I went and got myself another coffee, which cost me another £3. My lunch was a salad from a really good salad place, and for up north it's quite reasonable. It was about £10, but it was a large salad and I got a lot in it, so it was good value for money. I'm really hoping that this is an exception, because it was just today that I decided to park instead of walk to the train station. And I don't want to be criticised for wanting to buy coffees, because everybody who's working, who wants a good quality of life, who earns, should deserve joy and little pleasures. But I have not been able to let go of today. I've been feeling really bad all day, and genuinely I don't know how other people are managing this.
Talk about how expensive train tickets are getting in the UK. My partner's parents live in Basingstoke, so we regularly go up to visit them, maybe once every 3 months. A few years ago, an open return, I swear, was like 14 quid. An open return from London, by the way, sorry. Today I booked a ticket, and an open return to Basingstoke from London on a rail card is almost 30 quid. And that's on a rail card as well. I'm in my last year of being able to use the 25 to 30 rail card. I can't imagine how expensive it's going to be when I age out of my rail card. Why are train prices so expensive in the UK compared to the rest of Europe? It doesn't make sense. It's just a small island. There's not a lot of ground to cover.
How did I just spend £35 on reduced food? I always come to Sainsbury's because they have really good options for the reduced. Got 2 for tonight and 2 for tomorrow night. But what? 35 quid! I don't have 35 quid. I actually hate my life. I can't believe it. I spent 35 quid. And then now we're gonna go spend another 60 quid on fuel. What size the fuel kettle? But on a serious note, like, how are things so expensive? Like, how are people like? I genuinely want to ask whoever's in charge of like just normal pay and then maternity pay, where they're getting the the cost of living from, because it is costing us to live a lot. And it's so stressful. My boyfriend literally works 5 days a week and he does 9 hours every day. 9, 18, 27, 6, 45. It's 45 hours a week and maternity pay, and we still can't afford to live. Some people need speaking to.
So, UK inflation's still above 8%. That means that interest rates are going to go up again, doesn't it? What are we going to do about this? What can we do? Are you struggling to pay your mortgage? I know I am. And I'm sure there are millions of others that are going to be coming off of these fixed rates soon. I've got a friend that's on about a 1.5% mortgage, comes off of it in a year. Now, looking at the interest rates, he's not going to get a fixed for anything less than about 6 or 7%. But the other thing is, why have the savings accounts not gone up by the same amount? So if you've got a savings account, the interest rate's shit. And if you've got a mortgage, the interest rate's shit. But in the opposite direction, someone's fucking us over, aren't they, surely? Cost of living crisis. This looks like the whole thing's going to come toppling down pretty soon to me. Let me know in the comments. You struggling to pay?
Rent is increasing. Council tax is increasing. Water bills increasing. The light bills is on the high. Transport, everything is increasing. But you know one thing that stays the same? The salary. Yeah? No merit or bonus this year. Nothing. Everything is staying the same. Even though the cost of living and the inflation rate is through the roof. What is the hope for the common man in the street? If you're going to work 5 times a week, you should be able to pay your bills. Regardless, you should be able to pay all your bills. But that's not the case today. What the hell is going on? Is nobody going to say something? Are we not tired of how things are?
Morning. This is a message to Primark. In fact, it's more of a welfare check because are you okay, hun? I don't shop in Primark very often, for multiple reasons, but I nipped in today to get some hair clips. And I thought, that looks like a fairly decent mid-weight t-shirt, right? Fairly decent black mid-weight t-shirt. In fact, I picked up 2 and a white one for good measure because I go through t-shirts like nobody's business. Trundled off to the till, handed my basket over. This t-shirt, £12 pops up on the screen. I said, excuse me, is that for one t-shirt? Because I had 3 in my basket. She was like, yeah. Sorry. £12 for one t-shirt. Let me have a look. Let me see if I can show you. Ultimate Tee. £12. 12 great British pounds. And the worst thing is, it doesn't have the price on it. So I've just merrily walked up to the till thinking, oh, £12 for 2, you know, £6 a t-shirt, can't go wrong. No, that is premium prices. And I'm not paying, no, Primark, you're not built for that. You've got £12 for a t-shirt in Primark. Honestly, I am shocked. I actually said to the woman, I was like, no, not today. I'll take one, let's see the quality of it. But no, £12 for a t-shirt. Primark, you're having a laugh. You are not okay.
Cost of the UK living crisis is mental.
Look at the mini rolls. £3.95 for 10. Fucking hell, look, jam tarts, Mr. Kipling. 6. £3. Oh my God, look at Mr. Kipling chocolate thing. £3.95. They used to be bloody £1.50. God, this world is crazy.
Understand how elite Subway used to be. Yes, you're reading that right. This was normal back in the day. £5 for a foot long, a cookie and a drink. Sometimes instead of the cookie, you get a bag of crisps as well. Recently, the Subway meal deal has gone up to £13. And this just made me feel really sad because I remember it was only like 5 years ago. It was less than half this price. And the deals got even better than that as well. If you remember these vouchers, you're a real OG because these things used to be crazy. This is the only photo I could find. Even in this photo, it was £14 for 3 footlongs. And I remember clearly there were vouchers where there was 3 footlongs for £10. So you and 2 of your other friends could go into Subway, you get a footlong each for £3. Now you step foot into Subway, £10 gone like that. How the hell is a 6-inch over £6? And that's not even with a drink. I mean, Subway drinks are dead, but at the same time, I still want one. But I'm not paying £13 for a footlong and a drink. What has happened with the world? Everything's gone crazy. Take me back to 2018.
Tesco inflation since July last year. Jordan cereal was £1.99, now it's £3.60 and it's up 81%. Napolina passata was 49p and it's £1.20 and it's up 145%. Tesco's own brand of biscuits was £1, now they're £1.65 and they're up 65%. Tesco chunky cod fillets were £3.30, now they're £5.25 and they're up 62%. Sicilian olive oil was £6.50, now it's £9.95 and it's up 53%. Tesco flavoured tea was £1.10, now it's £1.75 and it's up 59%. Tesco currants 500 grams were £1.25, now they're £2 and they're up 60%. Sultanas 1 kilogram was £2.45, now they're £3.60, and they're up 47%. Tesco orange juice was £2.25, now it's £2.90 and it's up 29%. And 1 kilogram of carrots was 50p, now it's 65p, it's up 30%. Now you may not think 15 pence is a lot of money, but when you look at it in terms of percentages, 30% it is.
UK is finished. If you're currently living in the UK, you might want to reconsider because it's about to get a whole lot worse. So this graph shows you the standard of living in the and predicts it over the next few years up until 2028. Just take a look at that. This massive drop after 2023 shows how bad it's going to get. The standard of living in the UK is going down the drain. And take a look at this. If you wanted to rent a 1-bedroom flat in suburban London, not even in central London, it will cost you 2.2k per month. Honestly, how can anyone afford this? Because the average salary in the UK per year after tax is 28k. And if you're renting a 1-bedroom flat, you would only have £130 per month left over for everything else. So no wonder so many people are in debt. Taxes are likely to go up, inflation is at an all-time high, and rent prices are unaffordable. There are so many different countries around the world where you can have a good standard of living. So why would you choose to live in the UK? It's already the second most unequal country in the world. Because honestly, if you stay in the UK now, it's just going to get so much worse. And yes, all countries do have their problems. But the way I see it, the UK is finished. And it's not getting better anytime soon. Let me know what you guys think in the comments.
This is a genuine question I have. What are people doing to get by in this shit show that is cost of living crisis? I'm like genuinely losing will to live. I'm a single parent to 3 girls. I have been for about 7 years now. Don't get any maintenance payments. Just recently moved back to my family home where my mum and dad had lived for 30 years. My dad passed away in January. So I've come back to live with my mum, and although like I'm not paying as many bills now, it's still really hard. It's still really hard to get by. Trying to save up to take my kids on holiday, trying. I just had my daughter's 16th birthday. That cost me a fortune. She's got prom coming up. That's going to be another arm and a leg. I just want to know, like, I know that there will be a lot of people like worse off than me, and it's hard. It's really hard. But I just want to know, like, what are people actually doing? Like, is there a way out? Are we just stuck in this trap of, you know, you've got to pay it or go out? There's no let up on it. Even just if you've got like tips of things to do with kids. I mean, one's 16, twins 13. Like just stuff to do with them that don't cost an arm and a leg. Like, I can't even go in McDonald's without spending 30-40 quid. That used to be a treat. I just dread going in now. So yeah, if you have any tips for me, leave a comment for me. Thank you.
So, after travelling a month in Thailand and literally having the best time because everything's so cheap, everyone is so happy, they love their life, and they are literally the most friendliest people ever, you come back home. And now I've had to do my shopping. And oh my God, let me just tell you something. I've just spent £100 on food shopping, which therefore has only got me 3 bags. It is literally terrible what world and society we live in. It is so dear. Everyone is so depressed. And I don't understand how people can actually live like this because the prices are unreal. It is disgusting. Like, it is time we actually wake up and try and break this, because at the end of the day we are living in a crisis. People cannot afford to eat, and I'm telling you, the prices have gone up. I don't know if it's me because I've become selfish because I've had such luxury and it's been so cheap in Thailand, or if it's just absolutely trying to rip me off in Tesco's. Please tell me, guys, am I wrong or am I right? Because that is an absolute joke.